Welcome my good friend Tanner.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Let's go. I love you too, man. Yeah, man. Let's go. You guys fired up? Yes. I am the founder. Yeah, I'm the founder, man. It's been a long journey, and we're going to talk about a journey today. I don't take this for granted. The fact that I'm here is a miracle, like all of us. We found a way here, so I'm here to serve, okay? Yeah, I sell a product, but truly I'm here to serve, and I want you guys to know there's no pitch. There's no pitch. There's no pitch. So please, if there's a thought of like, man, what's he selling? Just absorb the information, okay? Because I've learned a lot in the last 8 years, and I'm here to share it with you all today. So I'm honored to be here. So first, we're going to talk about automating the customer journey for business growth. So important. So let's talk a little bit about who I am and why I'm here, guys. So first, my name's Tanner Mullen. I am the proud founder of Premium Painting. We are a residential house painting business in Central Florida. We've been operational for 8 years. I started the business to help my dad. He had a terrible addiction. He was a trades painter. I worked in the corporate sector, and I said, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we start a painting business? And I'll do all the sales, and you'll do all the production. Okay, didn't go as planned. His addiction was worse than I had anticipated. My mother had passed away. She was the bookkeeper, the admin. You know how that story goes, mom and dad trying to make it happen. So I had to kind of spin it off. I didn't know how to paint, but I figured it out. I watched YouTube and kind of just, put the pieces together. I didn't have resources like y'all have today. It was more so figure it out, fall on your face, and then, work on your business every single night. And as you see here, we have some of my team members. These are my guys. This is who I do it for, man. I love these people. I love giving opportunity in the trades, man. It's like, there's no better feeling when someone comes to you and they want to support their family, and guess what? You created a way for them to do that. I mean, isn't that like exciting? Like, I know all of us aren't here just to get rich. I mean, some of you guys want to impact some people, and this is a great way to do it. And how you do that is how you build your business, right? So this is what I do it for, man. I love my team. I got my wife there and my 2 beautiful children. So guys, I fooled you, all right? Because here's the deal. If I would have put this, then a lot more people would have came, right? Because a little more urgency here, but this is what we're talking about today. This is not about business growth, okay? This is about survival. If you want to win in the game of business, what I teach you today is all about survival, okay? Because the game is changing, right? The most innovative businesses are the ones that are light years ahead. And I'm going to teach you how to do that, and I'm going to teach you how to implement some principles today in your business that will allow you to be what I believe to be the separating factor in your market. You're going to be an outlier after this. So first, what is the customer's journey? So here it is. This is the customer's journey, guys. I want to see pictures being taken, but at the end, don't stress about it. I'm going to give you all the slides. So if there's something that stands out to you, take a picture. We all know you're not going to go into that camera roll for another few weeks, right? So just at the end, I'm going to have a QR code. You'll get all these slides. Just focus on the information. How your customer interacts with your company from the initial thought, right? The initial thought. Where does that initial thought happen? You should be a student of where the initial thought happens. We had a great talk by David with Dope Marketing. That's the initial thought. That yard sign, that wrap vehicle, that customer walking by, seeing your team. The etiquette, one thing that I'm really, really hard on with my team is how the job looks on the outside, right? For me in the painting business, I don't want plastic and tape. I want the front of their house to be an advertisement, right? That's the level of awareness that I need to have as a business owner, because that's where the customer journey really begins, is the perception that my customer has about our business. Because if I'm going to survive and grow in business, I cannot compete on price. It's impossible that if you're racing to the bottom, that's where you'll live. Okay, so we need to have some strategy. So this is where it happens. The initial thought of working with you to the final goodbye, which ultimately creates the beliefs they have about you along the way. So what if I told you that instead of one really long journey from start to finish, your customer is actually experiencing small pit stops or checkpoints throughout the way, right? So there's small pit stops and checkpoints that actually, if you put intense focus on and action, you can influence a customer's perception about your business. And guys, we know that homeowners are emotional, and perception is a powerful tool that we can use to build value. And that's what we're going to dive into today. Stick with me. What if I also told you that the sum total of the quality of those experiences add up in a big way and ultimately make or break the success of your business, guys? So ultimately, what we're doing is we're identifying that there's a macro view here, but what we're really going to do is we're going to spend time zeroing in on the micro, and that's the miniature steps and miniature thoughts along the way that your customers have. And you are going to be a student of this game, and you're going to position your business in a way that makes people feel what I believe to be pleasantly surprised. If we can create the feeling of being pleasantly surprised, then you will set yourself apart from the competition, okay? How many people here want their customers to be pleasantly surprised? Wouldn't that be a good thing to do? Isn't it nice when you run into a business that just does what they're supposed to do? Isn't that just being pleasantly surprised, right? So guess what? The bar is really low. Good news for you guys here, okay? Good news. So first, it all starts with why. The concept of why is so important, okay? This is where it all starts. Why does someone want your services? You need to be a student of this, what I believe to be intrinsic motivation as to why your customer wants your service. Because if you can understand the why, then you can position your business in a way that aligns with the intrinsic motivations that your customers have, which will drive them to focus more on the value than the price. And we're going to get into that. So is it a need or is it a want? I broke it all down for you guys, okay? I broke it all down. So here's the deal. We have all the different reasons why someone would want their gutters installed, okay? Water damage prevention, right? That's probably number one. Ultimately, that's most of the reason why you guys get a phone call. Second is going to be roof protection, landscape preservation, home value maintenance, compliance with codes. Or is it a want, right? So here's some reasons that someone would want gutters, which would be maybe an aesthetic appeal. Maybe they want customization options, right? Ease of maintenance, warranty, and longevity. But how many of you guys have purchased a house and one of the first things that you thought of was like, man, I can't wait to put gutters on this thing? Doesn't happen, right? So in other words, you need to understand what you sell, okay? And be okay with the fact that most people only really buy it because what? They have to, okay? So stop playing the game, right? Understand what game you're playing and position yourself in a way that aligns with the reality of the situation is that most people really don't want your services. They have to get them and be okay with it because ultimately, guess what? That is some leverage for you because, hey, you need us, right? Or you're going to have a flooded house. So most gutter installation requests are need-based. Not all, most, and it really comes down to the motivation of, I don't want to, but I have to, okay? So now we know this. This is good news for you guys. I'm giving you ammunition because guess what? Now you can position your offer in a way that directly aligns with the needs of your customers. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that. When the motivation is need-based, homeowners tend to focus on price. Would all of you agree with that, right? They want the best deal because it's not something that they're excited about. You're just solving a problem, a painful problem. So naturally, the natural thought process is, how can I get away from this with the least amount of pain? So when your customers say, you know, I'm sure you offer a great service, but the price is way higher than your competitors, they're probably right. They can't justify the difference because guess what? You guys are using the same materials. You guys are using the same measurements. And I fell into this trap. A long time ago, I used to get angry and say, man, these companies are just hiring people off the street. They don't have insurance. They do a terrible job. And these customers they just hire them. Well, that's not true anymore because it's really easy to find 8 companies in your area with at least a 4.5 rating on Google. Would you all agree with that? I mean, most people aren't just going to screw up a job. And the customer knows that. It's risky for them to do that because ultimately they'll either go to jail or they won't be in business. So generally speaking, they are vetting qualified individuals, guys. So we can't use that excuse anymore. Most of you guys have nothing else to compete with other than these 3 things, which ultimately means a customer would literally be psychotic if they chose you over the competition just because they like you. That doesn't work either. Ultimately, it's a need that you're selling, and if they feel like they can fulfill that need for a lesser price and get the same amount of quality, doesn't need to be amazing, it just needs to do its job, then naturally, the natural, logical decision-making process is, I'm going to go with the cheaper price. Everyone here agree with me with that? Am I on the right track? Okay. So we need a way to combat that, right? We need some ammunition or else we're not going to be able to scale our business. Okay. So let's go into that. I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that. So first, you need to understand that there's 2 primary factors as to why people make buying decisions. How many? 2, right? First one, cost, right? So if I'm a homeowner and I'm making a buying decision, right? I have 2 deciding factors. Cost. In other words, if I decide based on cost, if I look at 2 estimates and I say I'm going to go with the one that's cheaper, the reason I'm doing that is because there's not enough value to justify paying more. In the history of commerce, no one has ever traded a dollar thinking that the dollar is worth less than the value that they receive. unless they were scammed. Seeking a better alternative, so my primary motivator is how much can I save? In other words, if I have two bids and the one on the right is cheaper than the one on the left, in other words, the reason why I would go with the cheapest one is because I can't justify paying more. There's no value there. I'm not getting anything extra, right? I'm getting the same thing. But there's also this thing right here, guys, and this is the focus of my talk today, is value. You have to understand that the only difference between someone making a logical decision making when it comes to price, that's quantitative, is value, guys. Let me ask you this. Can anyone here show me value with your hands, please? That's a nice hand, but there's no value in it. Right? Value is air. It's a promise. It's trust. Right? And that trust isn't just verbal. That trust can be built in other ways. That trust can be built with automation. And I'm going to show you guys how we can build value in the gutter industry outside of just dropping our price. The value I'm receiving is far more than the cost to pay it. Therefore, I'm okay with paying more than the alternative because it makes sense to do so, because I'm getting more. How do we sell to need-based customers? There's only 3 ways. If you guys just make this a focus in your business, you will win. This is it, right here. This is how you sell need-based services. You have 3 elements that can get someone to logically decide to pay more for the same thing. There's only 3 ways: urgency, convenience, and communication. That's it. 3 ways. That's it. Let me ask you this. Anybody here purchased their Airbnb late? Do you think it would have been cheaper if you would have bought it 3 months ago? Okay. Same Airbnb, you're paying more for it. You can look at any sector of our economy, and I'm going to give you guys a really good example that's going to drive this point home. Commerce is commerce. Just because we're in the trades doesn't mean we can't use the psychological principles of how to sell the same thing for more. We just need to position our offer in a way that aligns with it, and I'm going to show you exactly that. So remember, urgency, convenience, and communication is what's going to build your business to heights that you cannot fathom right now. In order for you to differentiate your business, you must create value in a unique way that will allow someone to justify paying you more than the competitor by creating a better, faster, more efficient buying experience. It all happens during the buying cycle, every bit of it. Okay, we're going to talk about that too. So here's the deal, guys. We need to we need to agree on something today. We are not selling gutter installation services anymore. If anyone asks you what you do, you say, I create a superior gutter installation buying experience. A buying experience is what drives customers to make a value-based decision rather than a cost-based decision, because everything's built off of perception. In other words, they have no clue what they're going to get. Absolutely no clue. They don't see the deliverable for a few weeks. Right? So in other words, everything that they base their decisions off of is what happens before the moment that they get your quote. And that needs to resonate through every step of the customer's journey. So how can automation help facilitate and enhance the customer's journey? The essence of all automation is simple: to help your customer get from point A to point B faster with as little friction as possible. So here's a key concept for you guys to understand, and this is true in every sector of our economy. Why people buy will never change. It will never change. The reasons that I showed you all earlier in this talk are the same reasons people will buy gutters in the year 2050. They will never change. That's good news. But how people buy will always change. That's how innovation occurs. If you guys notice, innovation in our economy is built off of this principle right here, the how. Okay? How people buy. Why? Well, do you guys remember this? Back when I was a kid, we used to go to the grocery store. And we used to bring these big metal carts in. They used to make us put the stuff in the carts after we scanned them in the register, and then we had to take them to our car. Then we'd have to unload them in the car, and then we have to drive home, and then we have to take the groceries out, and we have to put them in our house. Then we'd have to put them into the refrigerator, okay? Same groceries, different way of purchasing them. Anybody here use Instacart ever? Okay? I remember there was a time period I would never use that. Who's going to pick the perfect blueberries for me, okay? Who's going to make sure there's not mold on them, right? That was the mindset. But something happened. Natural progression in business is easier, faster, more efficient, not only for the business owner, right? Good things happen for the business owner, but the customer, which is most important. The customer will ultimately choose the option that's best for them. And we can't be selfish. We can't say, well, I don't want to adapt to the way the customers are doing it. I like my way. Well, you're going to be on the highway by yourself. Okay? So businesses invest their resources facilitating more efficient buying experiences because people will pay more for those two things right there. Please tell me what those are. Speed and convenience. Remember it, lock it in. If you get a tattoo of it, it'd probably be a good idea to remember that the only way that you could separate yourself from the competition is to be more faster and to do it in a more efficient way. Do people really pay more for speed and convenience? All right. So you might be saying, Tanner, I get it, man. Like, you know, John, you got drip jobs. Like you're making a good case here, but like my customers are loyal, man. They'll wait. Oh, let's see. So look at this, guys. I want you to see that I came up with some pricing here for you guys to understand that this is the same exact food, right? We have mixed peppers, cucumbers, organic bananas, right? We got pitted dates, organic figs. We got salsa, nut butter, ice cream. It's all the same food. But guess what? Because it's ordered through Instacart, speed and convenience, yes? Guys understand the concept? They're able to charge a 9% difference for the same food, okay? 9% customers are willing to pay because it's easy. It's convenient. Okay. So I want you guys to think about how can I make my gutter business speedy and convenient? Okay. Now I would venture to say that it doesn't happen when you're installing gutters because customers probably don't want you to do the fastest job you can. Would you guys agree with that? They want you to spend all day there making sure every cut is perfect, right? So it's not going to happen when you're installing gutters. Trust me, okay? It's going to happen in the sales cycle. So are groceries a need or a want? I know this is rudimentary here, but is it a need or a want, groceries? It's a need, right? So in other words, guys, you guys have a need. Groceries are a need. So why would the principles of how commerce work change just because the deliverable is different? It's not going to change. It's the same thing, okay? So check this out. Can you go to the store and buy groceries cheaper? Yes, okay? But there's a sacrifice, and it's your time, right? So in other words, there's another option, okay? Yet, why are customers willing to pay 9 to 15% more? So look at this, okay? This is a cool chart that I found. In 2019, there was $58 billion of online grocery sales. 2019. 2025, you see the number, $221 billion. That will not stop. It's going to continue because naturally customers want faster, more efficient, right? And this is just commerce in general. Guys, remember, natural progression is faster, more efficient. Customers prefer this. You need to align your offer with what your customers want. That's the key here, okay? So what happens if the market adapts to the innovation, right? So in other words, let's say most of your customers prefer to work with companies that make it easy, fast, and efficient. What about those companies that are doing virtual estimates? I know that we don't want to talk about that here because that might make you guys have to change the way you're doing things. But guess what? If every customer or the vast majority prefers to do business that way, then you guys have a very tough decision to make. Just being honest, because we're talking about survival here, okay? We're talking about survival. You as CEOs, you have one responsibility is to get your business through hell, okay? So on the other side, you can bring your team with you, okay? I do this every day. I'm always looking for ways to improve my processes. You're not a chief executive officer. You're a chief efficiency officer. That's how you operate a business. Here's the deal. It forces businesses to pivot or they risk becoming obsolete. Now, guess what? In the trades, I don't think there's a such thing as obsolete, but there is a such thing as a business owner wearing all the hats, okay? That's old technology, right? That's old technology. You guys are here. And maybe there was a big trade-off to be here. Maybe no production's happening right now. Or maybe you guys have figured it out. Maybe some of you guys have some guys working back home. Good for you. We want to make sure it stays that way, okay? So if businesses adapt to the innovation, which is a huge benefit to early adopters, it forces competitors to pivot or they become obsolete. In other words, it's either you or the competitors. So why did Walmart acquire Jet.com in 2016? Because they noticed that Amazon was taking off. And they said, hey, I don't have the time to figure out how to ship things. Okay, the CEOs got around at a round table and said, I don't have time. All right, we got to figure this out, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to acquire a company that does this because if we don't do this, we will be what? Obsolete. Good. So what happens when a company refuses to innovate and change? Okay, so some of you guys might not like technology. Some of you guys might not want to learn it. Some of you guys might think you don't need it. Some of you guys think pen and paper is going to save you from having to touch technology. Well, guess what, guys? You know that company? Okay? Bad decision makers. Thought everything would always stay the same. And guess what? The only store that's left is a museum. Do you want an old piece of gutter with your imprint on it to be the only thing that's left of your business? So how do you protect this from happening to your gutter business? Number one, these are the core elements of a CEO. Embrace technology. You have to understand that technology is moving fast. Anybody here use ChatGPT yet? Not enough hands are raised. Sorry. You might not like AI. But guess what? And it's not going anywhere, okay? Continuous and never-ending improvement. That's just a mindset. Never settle. Adjust to market change. You got to know what the market's doing. You got to care. Take risks. Don't be blindsided, okay? Here's the deal. What is the common denominator that forces change in business? Customers start buying differently. And that's what happens. When the customers start buying differently and new things start occurring in the marketplace, that's when you got to say, hold on, I need to figure this out. I need to be first. Businesses need to start selling differently. So here's the deal. Back in the day, this is how business used to work. You know, you'd have a neighbor that used to talk to one another. They put the front porch in the back porch now. Like used to, when they built houses, it always used to be in the front. Everyone used to communicate. Okay, now everyone's in the back hiding. So we got the neighbor, and then we have Yellow Pages, and we had the newspaper. These were the three ways that you would get in touch with a contractor. This was the journey. The neighbor would give you a referral. You would call them because you trust your neighbor. He's a better resource than the technology because he gave you his word. You have to face him every day. So if he gave you a bad referral, then ultimately it would be on him. So then you would get a phone call, and then ultimately you just show up and probably sell the job. So this is the directory journey. Same thing. You found out that Yellow Pages is a good resource. If they're in the Yellow Pages, or if they're in the newspaper, they're probably a quality operation. They probably have a budget. I'll give them a call because they're in the Yellow Pages. So in other words, the customer started trusting the Yellow Pages more than their neighbor. People prefer to use their own judgment when it comes to whether or not they're going to hire somebody. Then something happened, right? So obviously companies started to see that what? Customers were buying differently. They weren't trusting the neighbor anymore. They were trusting Yellow Pages in the newspaper. And the companies noticed that customers were trusting the newspapers and the Yellow Pages. And guess what they did? They said, you know what? Put me on the first page. I'll spend $500. Give me a whole page, and I'm going to name my company AAA Gutters. Anybody know a AAA company still running? A1, A001, right? So companies started realizing that hiring a contractor was a risky endeavor. In other words, opportunity happened. Whoa, it hurts my eyes, don't it? These are all the different ways that your customers are buying from you. Any of these look familiar? I mean, right? Like this is different than it was, right? And some of us still operate the same way we would if Yellow Pages was the only resource out there. In other words, you guys are getting inundated from all these different angles, and you have no clue which one to zero in on. Customer data is everywhere, right? It's overwhelming, but it's not stopping. And more of these are popping up left and right. Amazon's in the game. Walmart's in the game. Home Depot's in the game. Lowe's is in the game. In other words, it's saying, trust us. We know more than this guy about who you should hire for your project. So that means more and more as time goes on, you are out of control. So what I consider this business is risk aversion as a service. In other words, it's like, hey, you know what? Trust us. You can't make your own decisions. We'll provide you with the contractor that you need. I'll be the middleman between you and the contractor. In other words, we'll use our reputation to facilitate the exchange. And all the contractor has to do is pay us for it. How many people are spending money on Google right now? Facebook, right? In other words, you're leveraging their reputation. That's all you're doing. And you're paying for it. You're paying a lot of money for it, okay? The customer has more options than ever and more resources than ever to make a buying decision. And ultimately, even in the situation where you get a social media recommendation, guess what the customer does? They go to Google because they go from Facebook to Google, and then they go check your social media, and then they go to your website, and then they submit their info. I mean, it's a whole circus just to get an estimate nowadays. It's different than it used to be. It's important for you to see this. So how do we adopt to this new way of doing business? To be two places at once. In other words, we need to position our business operations in such a way that we can efficiently absorb the multi-channel influx, which allows us to leverage and capitalize on the emotional aspect of the customer's journey. So with that said, we create an above average customer service experience through the power of automation. In other words, that's the other guys and that's you. You're the outlier. You need to spark a little interest. Remember we talked about being pleasantly surprised. It's still abnormal for a company to respond to an inquiry within 5 minutes. That would make someone pleasantly surprised, right? Concept number one, speed to lead. Anybody hear this concept before? It's important that you understand that it's not just about buying leads. It's actually speed to customer, right? That's the key here, okay? Speed to lead. I want you to understand that Harvard did a study on this. It's one of the only studies I could find, but it aligns perfectly with my personal experience. I want you to know that 10,000 people submitted information. And Harvard wanted to see what the set ratio was on all of those leads. In other words, they wanted to know how much time would go by before there was a major drop-off in response. Okay, so ultimately what the data says is that within 5 minutes, 9,000 customers would respond to the inquiry from the moment they submitted the information. That means that within 5 minutes, somebody submits a form on your website. If you call them, you're going to get a response 90% of the time. If you wait another 5 minutes, look where that is, okay? It's a 10x decrease. So that's 10 minutes. This is just data. This is just data. There's a 400% decrease in odds of qualifying when it comes to 5 minutes versus 10 minutes. In other words, time is of the essence. And guess what? Most of us aren't a 24/7 individual that's constantly staring at our phone waiting for those inquiries in. So what is the alternative? Automation. That's it. There's no other alternative. Or you hire someone and pay them 24 hours a day, which is inefficient, of course. So I want to show you guys some examples of what I've done in my painting business to align my business in a way that ultimately gives the customer exactly what they need, irregardless of whether I'm present or not, or anyone from my team is. Because I want you to know that leads come in at all times of the day. Have any of you guys ever gotten a lead inquiry after 12 o'clock at night? Okay. People, you just got one. You just got one, right? And I bet it stressed you out, right? Because you woke up in the morning and you're like, I got to call this person. Well, they could have been sipping wine thinking, honey, we really need to get these gutters done. I'm so tired of stepping in mud. And then they wake up and they realize, you know what? We'll put it off. Did you get in touch with them? He got in touch with them? Perfect, perfect. So that's a good case. But in some cases, not everyone answers after 9 hours, okay? And then it makes you guys think, man, you know what? That's a bad lead. Or, guess what? The pursuit doesn't stop. And sometimes it's not about outsourcing marketing. Sometimes it's about creating efficiencies in our operations to capitalize on the marketing that we have in place now. Well, we'll get into that. I'm going to show you right now. That's a good question. You're in line with what we're about to teach. So this would stress me out, $95. In the painting space, that's how much leads cost sometimes. And this was Home Advisor. I don't care how you feel about them. It's just a lead, okay? So $95, right? So this would stress me out. 1 o'clock in the morning, the lead came in. 1 o'clock, 5+ rooms. All right, check this out. This was me. Anybody else? Like, what am I going to do? Should I send a text? Should I send an email? Right? I got a lead. They're hot. So that was me. That's not me, but looks close. I'm like, honey, get me looking like this for the gutter summit. It looks kind of close. All right, but this is you guys, right? This is you guys. Answer the phone, right? This is you guys. Answer the phone, right? Why aren't you answering? Come on, I'm cutting gutters, I'm putting up gutters, right? So the reality of the situation is that we used automation, and we talked about 5 minutes, but I'll do you one better. I'll do immediate, right? And that's the power of automation. Is ultimately what we do is we take the data, we send it to the software triggers the response instantly. Hey, guess what? If you can put in a submission at 1 a.m., I can send you some correspondence at 1 a.m. Right? Ultimately, that's how it works. And what I did here with Ms. Carletha is we sent her an automated message at 1 o'clock in the morning. She didn't take us up on it, but guess what? A follow-up, my second touch point happened at 8 o'clock. Guys, let me ask you this. Show of hands. It said, this is what the message says if you can't see it. It says, does Wednesday work for a free estimate? Show of hands. How many of you think that I wrote that message? How many of you think that someone from my team wrote that message? Well, guess what? That's an automated text message. She thinks I wrote it, which encourages her to respond because nobody wants to leave somebody on red. She responded, and guess what? We locked her in for an appointment on the 22nd at 11 a.m., right? So think about this. If that customer was your customer and they came in at 1 o'clock, how much time would go by before they were corresponded with? Or what person would you have to pay to make that happen, right? And ultimately, for me, I have peace of mind anytime a lead comes in at any time during the day. I've positioned my offer in a way that gives the customer what they want at the time they want it, irregardless of my physical presence in my business. This is how you scale. Check it out. Here we go. Facebook lead journey. We got some Facebook ads running, guys. Highly suggest you look into Facebook ads. It's going to happen. You're going to start seeing Facebook marketing agencies for gutters pop up in your industry. Every time you start to see gutter summits and cons and all these different events, guess what? Marketers start getting hazy eyes. They can't wait, starry-eyed, right? They're like, oh, this industry's about to pop off. Guarantee you guys, mark my words, in a year, you're going to start seeing marketing agencies for Facebook doing only gutters, right? And the reason why is because there's a massive opportunity for you guys to distance yourself from the competitors by building a relationship online. But a relationship built is worthless if you don't capitalize on it. So of course, we position our offer in such a way that if a customer is inspired by my video of me walking through a house, showing the customer our preparation, and they say, you know what, that's the company I want because I'm focused on the customer journey, guess what? They're going to fill out their information. They're in a high emotional mindset. And ultimately what happens is, well, if I don't answer, that emotion goes down. They go back to scrolling and they say, you know what, I don't need this anyway, but not with automation, because automation allows me to capitalize on the interest instantly. So in other words, if you're late at night scrolling on your sofa, talking with your significant other, and you see an ad, honey, look at this. I was just talking about painting. I can't believe that I see a painting ad. They're spying on me, but they look really good. And the guy seems really nice and do a great job. Can I please submit an inquiry to get an estimate? All right, fine. If someone did that in your business, how long would it take for you to capitalize on that emotional intensity? And if the answer is longer than 5 minutes, you are heading in the wrong direction. It's all about speed. And what I want you to see here is, once again, that came in at 7:17. She didn't respond. And then that Wednesday question came up again, and Mr. gave us a yes. And then at that point, we strike and we call them and build an even deeper relationship. Check it out. Anybody here have a Google listing? Okay. So let's talk about the website journey. This is big. This is big because I want you guys to understand that most of your websites have this thing. Anybody's contact form on their website look like this? Raise your hand, guys. I need participation, guys. I'm trying to give you some value. Here's the deal. Can anyone tell me what happens to the information once it gets submitted? Where's it go? Okay. How many of you guys, the moment it comes in, go to that email and call that customer? Right there, we got somebody. Takes a lot of effort, but what happens if it happens at 10 o'clock at night? Next day, right? Next day, right? And what I'm trying to do is help you guys understand that this is one other thing that you have to think about in one of 20 different ways people can contact you, okay? So ultimately, things are slipping through the cracks. And what I want you to understand here is that this form is great if someone is sitting there waiting for the information to come in and responding to the customer, because this form, guess what? It doesn't even have all the information we need. Is that a pleasant experience for a customer when they find your website, they fill out the information, and there's no address, there's no information about what they want done, and then you call them and you start asking more questions? It's like, well, didn't I just fill out the information? Well, yeah, you did, but now I need more information. Like, nobody wants to experience that. That's not efficient. That's not speed. That's not convenience. That's not the things that we talked about. And for most of you, this is normal, right? There's not an alternative, but yes, there is. And I want you to know that you need automation. So check this out. This is a customer that came into my pipeline at 9/22 in 2019. It's 2024. John told you guys that I hadn't started Drip Jobs until 2020. So that means I was once inefficient. This customer came in. This is what most of your leads look like in your email. And guess what? It requires physical labor to move that lead through the pipeline. That is not a pleasant experience. Okay, check this out. This is my customer's experience that you just saw. Has to wait for a call back. Excitement dwindles. Might go back to Google. Still has to confirm when. Uncertainty of next steps. My wife gives me a bunch of tasks to do. And if one of my tasks is to get a quote from someone and I go through that, I can't tell her that I got it done because I hadn't gotten a confirmation yet. It's just one more thing that I have to worry about of whether or not they're going to get back to me. So guess where I'm going? Back to Google, and I'm going to do it again and again and again, because I am not loyal to you as a gutter installation company, okay, at all. I have no loyalty built whatsoever. I'm loyal to Google, right? I'm loyal to Google. Google will give me the best choice. Will give me more than just the best choice. But now we have an automation-powered form, and this form, built with automation, gives us all the information we need to book the estimate without calling the customer. We have their name, their address, their phone number, the lead source. Which day works for you for an appointment? What's another day that works? What time of day to best serve you? What outlines your expectations? Now I can add custom questions that give me the ability to book an estimate without having to call her back. In other words, I can do that at night, at 10 o'clock at night. I see a request come in. I don't need to call you. I have all the information, schedule. They get the confirmation. They're ecstatic, pleasantly surprised. And what you see here is that this customer went ahead and booked an appointment. I got a new appointment request that came in from this guy. I got name, email, address, phone number. I got the preferences. Drip Jobs did its thing. 127 p.m. And then look at this. At 1:27 p.m., Chuck, who came in, I don't know what I was doing at 1:27. My office admin's probably calling customers and doing her thing. But at 1:27, the minute Chuck puts his information in, we just don't follow up with leads. That's not being pleasantly surprised. This is a person that was interested in our services, did the hard work for us. Our website looks great. He submitted the form, and we gave him instant feedback. Instant feedback. Thank you for requesting an appointment. And then not only did we thank him for requesting an appointment, we gave him a confirmation, date, time, location. This is the expectation of today's buyer. And not only did we do that, we told him a story about who we are, because the only thing that's different between me and you is our story. So wouldn't it be wise to tell a customer a little bit about who we are? I'm sure all of you have a great story that you would want each of your customers to know, because we understand that customers buy based off of what? Emotion. But if there's nothing emotional, then there's no reason to buy off of emotion. They'll just buy off of logic, okay? Check this out, customer journey, the phone. All right, this is the most dangerous place. Be honest, because here's the deal. If you can participate, it's gonna trigger something within you today that's gonna recognize that you have some work to do, and that's a good thing. That's why you're here. How many of you business owners only answer the phone? Because I've seen 3 of them leave so far, okay? They're leaving and running out to answer the phone for the very reason that I'm giving this speech today. If you guys notice a couple people leaving, phone's ringing, hold on, How many times do you think that happens to them throughout the day? They're afraid to miss the call because they don't have a system in place. It either happens here. Guys, this next one, it's going to hit your heart. Okay, I got a picture, it's going to hit your heart. Okay, those of you parents out there, okay, it's going to hit your heart if you're a parent. Not that one. Well, wrong. That's not going to hit your heart. That's a rusty guy. That one looks like you. There's one that's going to hit your heart. I forget where it is, but you'll know it when it comes. It's an AI. It's an AI guy. I said, give me a gutter guy with a trucker hat. I mean, they're not that old school. I mean, they got cell phones now, right? That one's not going to hit your heart. All right, check it out. So think about it this way. What's your current process when a customer calls you? And some of you guys who did the Drip Jobs demo, that's what we started with. We're like, well, what happens when a customer calls you? Okay. Can you text me your info? Anyone ever say that to a customer on the phone? Just be honest, right? We all have. These are the 3 options. Hold on, let me just grab a pen. I'm getting beeped at. Dangerous, right? Is your life worth risking for a 40% closing ratio? No. You type it into your phone, right? Notepad, then it goes into Google, and then it goes into QuickBooks or Jobber or whatever else it is, right? You guys are typing away, and each time you type it, you lose a piece of data. It's like the email never follows and all sorts of stuff. So these are inefficiencies, okay? These are inefficiencies. This is not creating a pleasant experience. Here's the deal. Customers' initial experience when they have to go through this journey that you're putting them through is unpleasant. It's unpleasant staying on the phone. Anyone like giving all your information over the phone? You know, doodlypickles123@gmail.com. Can you spell that again? Like nobody wants to experience that, right? Because you know why? Because other businesses that they do business with do it a different way. Back then it was fine because there was no other alternatives. Real person, right? But guess what? And I don't think that there's a complete replacement. I think that really what we use is automation to supplement what we do, to make it more efficient for both of us, right? So what I think is those of you that are answering your phone in your business, most of you guys can't give a firm date and a time of when you can go out and do the estimate. In other words, it's another roadblock. Well, listen, let me take your information. I think I can get there between 1 and 3 tomorrow. You know, or it's like this random thing where you have to respect the customer's schedule, okay? And that's important. That's what we're going to cover. No follow-up afterwards, uncertainty of next steps, uncertain of appointment date and time, unprofessional. Here's the deal. This is the new way. We're going to build rapport. In other words, instead of thinking about, man, I got to write down first name, last name, email, phone number, address. In other words, what we can do is we can build rapport. We can set expectations. Miss Jones, why'd you call us? Right? Miss Jones, I'm so excited to do this job for you. Have you gotten any other estimates yet? Because you know that you have a system in place to grab the information. Right? The next one is you send the booking link. Miss Jones, is it okay if I send you a text message with a link and you can just fill it all out? And then once we get the information, we'll be able to schedule your appointment pretty efficiently. That sounds great. And that goes back to that form that we talked about. Next, customers' new experience, high expectations. It's professional, it's seamless, and they're certain about the next steps. In other words, what you're seeing here, thank you for requesting a consultation with Gutter Pros. We've received your request, and we'll reach back out to you shortly if you have any questions or need to make changes. How many of your customers are getting any form of communication after you book an estimate with them? How many of you guys have a system in place for that? Okay, so a couple. Not enough, right? Not enough. Missed phone calls will kill your business. That's why these guys are running out, because they know these are the best customers, the ones that actually seek us. and it'll kill them. That's why they're running out. They're like, I have to sacrifice what I'm learning here to get that phone call answered, okay? This was the one that would hurt your heart, okay? Got the family. You guys are out at the state fair, you know, and they're doing the same thing that y'all just seen today, okay? How many of y'all have been in this position? I have. Soccer, game, honey, hold on. And then you get the look, man. It's like, I know, but I'm trying to build the business so we can be free. You know, we got to really get to freedom in order to validate that promise, guys. This is why I built Drip Jobs right here. I wanted to free business owners. That's it. There's a great system that I want everyone here to look into. It's called Open Phone. Okay. If you don't know what it is, it's a cloud-based phone system, Open Phone. Okay. Most of you guys here, anybody here using their personal cell phone for answering their business phone calls? You guys probably have a phone number with that cell phone that you've had since high school, and you probably don't want to give that phone to someone else. So we need to think of a plan ahead of time, and the best plan for that is to get a new phone number now. I know your vehicles are wrapped. I know you have yard signs. I know you have everything with that number on it, but the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. And what I want you to understand is that when you sell your business, you're not want to give that phone you had since high school with all your kids' pictures on it and, you know, the only number your grandma has. Okay, so we need to transition our business to the cloud. And what we're going to do is use Open Phone, because what's great about Open Phone is if someone called my business right now, I can send an automatic text message with that Drip Jobs link, and it gets the customer from point A to point B at any time of the day. If those gentlemen that ran out of this room had Open Phone, they'd be able to trigger an automatic text message with the link, letting them know that they can just simply fill out the form. That's the same thing we're going to do anyway, so just get from point A to point B. You already validated our business. You found our website. You looked at our reviews. So I guarantee that if you get an automated text message with a link, you'll fill out that form. Question. So Open Phone, it has a mobile app, and that mobile app will ring whenever the number is called. And ultimately what that means is if you get an office admin in your business, you can actually add them as a user and both of your numbers will ring. In other words, you can create a system that anyone at anywhere in the world can answer your business line. Okay? And the good news is I get all the recordings. That's Teresa. She's my awesome admin. So normally we don't have missed calls, but when we do, she, you know, late at night, guys, she doesn't work 24/7, right? Are we good on time, John? Okay. How much more time we got? Okay. Can you guys give me 10? You guys go with 10? All right, so here's the deal. AI, right? AI is embedded in all sorts of different apps. I'm getting an AI summary of the call, right? So this doesn't have to necessarily do with the customer side of the operations, but guess what? I can use automation to help efficiency in my business. Do you know how many times I didn't have to listen to the recording? I could just look at the report of the AI, and I pulled the trigger on that. It was $50 a month, whatever, as long as it gets me from point A to point B. That's the investor mentality. The investor mentality is I have to spend money not only on marketing, I have to spend money on innovation. It's almost like a risk, but ultimately the reward is we have efficient practices. So some of you guys might be thinking, man, how much is Open Phone? Does it matter? Really? Does it matter? How much is Drip Jobs? How much is does it matter? Like really, ultimately, you need technology in your business, whether you like it or not. The cost of not having it, unfortunately, is unquantifiable. So in other words, that's why there's a question of how much does it cost? The real question is how much is it costing you now not having automation in your business? And what you're seeing here is a system that if every one of those gentlemen or whoever left the room to go answer a phone call, if they had this, imagine some of the slides that could have changed their life right now. Some of the things and the thoughts that they could have. It stopped the flow. So it's going to take them another 10 minutes to catch up to me and where am I? Where is he? What the heck's he talking about? Okay, some of you guys are locked in and I could see it in your eyes. And I could see that you're starting to think about your business in a different way. And that's why I came here. Okay, to show you guys that business is changing. This is about survival. This is not about growth. Growth after survival. That's how it happens. Automation frees us from having to facilitate every step of the customer journey. The momentum is never lost. The momentum, right? If we took a 10-minute break, you guys are going to lose the emotion that you have right now. And that's the idea here is to understand that your customers are operating in momentum. Is this the cycle in your business like a nice little dance, right? Or is it like, well, like, okay, I got to answer this phone call and, oh, he said he's going to reschedule, but I don't know when. And, you know, he said he'd be here later. And you know, like, is that the journey? Because I'm not paying more for that. There's no way. Because that's a foreshadowing of what I'm going to get when it comes to deliverables. You know what I'm saying? Right? So everything you do on the sales side foreshadows what happens on the production side. That's all you got. Concept number 2, lead nurturing. We call these drips. In other words, we have cold leads and warm leads. How many of you guys have had a customer cancel an estimate before? All right, cancel an estimate. So I've talked to probably like 50 people here, and that's the question I've asked you. I might have even asked you one of those questions. Here's the deal. Every one of them said they never talk to them again. Never. It's not because they don't want to, they just don't have a system. When we have a customer that cancels, we just move them to warm leads with a cancellation drip sequence and says, over the next 4 months, it just lets them know we're ready when they are. You can't just assume that people cancel an estimate because they hired someone else. People get sick, life happens. Life happens to me. I've canceled estimates before and I never got a follow-up. I don't even remember the name of the business because I went to Google. I'm just going to go back to Google, right? We're lucky if customers remember premium painting, but guess what? They're not thinking about painting all year like they're thinking about big brands like Apple, Verizon, and all these different things that they interact with every day. They think about us when they what? All right, good. So we talked about this. What happens after 1 day? We talked about that. The red arrow is just after 30 minutes, okay? After 1 day of time, if you get a lead in your business, 1 day, the data shows that guess what? The decrease is just insane, okay? In other words, some of you guys take an hour to get back to a request, an hour, and it matters. Okay? Why do cold leads need to be nurtured? Because there's low intent, there's mistrust, there's fears, there's budget, there's impulse, and they're busy. So when I say cold lead, I mean someone that came from the ether, Facebook, Google, someone that you've never interacted with, and they don't know you personally. These are why they need to be nurtured. They need to be told a story. They need to be chased. They need to be sought after. And guess what? I'm not doing it. The system does it. In that cold lead section that you've seen, they're just getting drip messages with my story, with who we are, with what we're about. Okay, check it out. Right here, we have a sequence that goes out. Catch this. We got an immediate message that goes out. 1 hour, 1 day, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. Now, will it work for everyone? Heck no. But guess what? At any point in time, I have a list of cold leads in my CRM that I can send a blast message to drum up business at any given time. I paid for the data. I can use it. So check this out. Kim, she was a warm lead. Hi, Kim, it's Tanner. It's been a few days and we still haven't gotten you on the schedule. And she says, Tanner, sorry for the late reply. I had to have surgery. And I'm recovering. I've attached 2 photos of my home. Okay, so in other words, that went out 5 days after she came into my pipeline. There'd be no chance I would have had an opportunity to earn her business if I didn't have an automation set up. We're too busy, okay? And look at this, we have another customer. Does Wednesday work for an estimate? Guys, you saw that work twice. You saw that work twice in my presentation, the Wednesday follow-up. Let me ask you guys this. You know the game now. Do you guys think I wrote this or anyone from my team wrote this? No. That's a follow-up. Does it look like an automation? No, it looks like a text message. And because I sent it not only after the 3rd day, the 22nd, 18th, I waited 4 more days to trigger the automation. And she said, hey, that'd be great. And sent me photos of her house. We sold the job. How awesome is that? Why aren't you following up? Because you're disorganized, you're spread too thin, you're not sure of the value, you're too busy, and there's no automation. The fortune is in the follow-up, you guys have heard this stat, that ultimately 80% of all sales require 5 follow-ups. 5 follow-ups. I would venture to say that most of you haven't followed up with the people that you gave proposals to all last month. And all of you have to understand that they all didn't hire someone else. That would be impossible. And I would challenge you guys to go drive by the house. Pick someone that you gave an estimate to 3 weeks ago that did not move forward. Drive by the house. Go see if there's gutters on it. And then you'll think to yourself, damn, I need to get those follow-ups. Okay? Check this out. Your set rate. Set rate's an important metric. Okay? This is an indicator of your lead process to convert them to estimates. So in other words, everyone talks about closing ratio. You go around here, everyone has a closing ratio, right? I'm at 40, 60, 80. That's great, man. Okay? What's that set rate? You know, the set rate is how you convert leads to estimates. This is a great indicator for your office team once you get there, but more importantly for you, and you can see here that I have a 72% set rate on Google. Does that check out, John? Obviously high intent, right? 72, 73. This is data in drip jobs. Facebook lead form, 40%. Facebook, low intent. Right? Check this out. Word of mouth, 81%. They're my highest because they're word of mouth. But even word of mouth leads don't convert 100% of the time. You can see it's only 81%. These are people that have heard about me from a neighbor and they still don't convert 100% of the time. We're missing out on opportunity. Canceled estimates. We talked about this. Hey, Jones, it's been a few weeks since you canceled that estimate. I have an opening this Wednesday. Would you like that gutter quote still? That's built in drip jobs. It's a sequence you can make instantly. And every time someone canceled, you just move them over to the stage and trigger the automation. You never have to touch it again. Pipeline management. We have all of our stages here. I want you guys to understand what you're looking at right here is what's going on in your brain right now. Every one of you have this in your brain as we sit, and it's inefficient. None of you guys can reference any of the data beyond this layer. Address, phone number, proposal amount, invoice amount, right? This is why you need a visual representation of where your customers are in the buyer's journey. So important. So if I say, hey, you know what? I need you to call the last 5 people you gave proposals to. How long would that take you? And if it would take you longer than 5 minutes to gather that data, to make the phone call, then you have an inefficiency in your sales process. Just because someone doesn't buy today doesn't mean they won't buy tomorrow. John, I got 5 minutes, man. I got to finish up here. I think we're rocking. You guys good with 5 minutes? Okay, cool. Here's the deal. Why do warm leads need to be nurtured? Indecisive about details. In other words, they don't own the house yet. Urgency of the need has changed. They're waiting for money. A life event came up. Health, change in funds. These are all the reasons why someone who originally inquires for a gutter installation service, but they don't follow through. Guys, we all have these people in our business. Here's the deal. We follow up with them through a slow nurture sequence. Okay, fine, you're not ready today, but you're still a human. You still have a house, and you still are going to hire someone in the future. I just want to be in the conversation. And by the time that we get to you, we've already sent you 8 emails, told you our story, showed you a picture of my family, my cat, my dog. You at least know who I am, and it happens automatically. This is not labor. Okay, this is easy because it's automated. It's a robot. Okay, check this out. Warm lead. Hey, it's been a little bit since we've spoken about your project. Has it been completed? Or do you still need an estimate? Did you finish it? Let me know. If you finished it, fine. I won't follow up with you anymore. Please give me a call. Would like to set up an appointment for a free estimate in the painting the interior of our home. Guys, this is why I'm so passionate about this, man. This is why I'm up here looking like a lunatic in front of you guys, because the reality of the situation is you're losing out on opportunity that's sitting right in your house, dude. All right, and it gives you a sense of control. And every now and again, I'm pleasantly surprised when I get one of these emails, right? Check this out. Concept 3, building value with automation. Touch points, how often your customer engaged with your company during the lifespan of the deal. The reality of the situation is we have 24 to 72 hours before the time we book an estimate, to the time we knock on the door. How many times is your customer being communicated with during that time? And the reality of the situation is that's the 3 stages of drip jobs here: estimate requested, estimate scheduled. And during that time, we can tell a story. So what I told you guys is, my name's Tanner. I'm the founder of Premium Painting here in Ocala. A little bit about me. I've been in the painting business since I was a kid. My father would wake me up early in the morning while in high school to take me along the ride to paint houses around the Ocala area. The imprint left on me as I would see his customers marvel at the end result of his work is what still drives me and our company today. That's my story. And I want you to buy it because I believe in it. And guess what? Look what Wendy said. This was such a great message to receive today. I've never seen Wendy. I couldn't spot her out in a crowd. But the moment we knock on the door, they're like, hey, I read your story. I'm in the lead. I don't know. I'm ahead of the last guy. I'm not saying that's going to make the difference. I'm just saying that, guess what? I'm not playing the same game they're playing. Okay? I want you to honestly be a little sad that you can't hire us, because it's only because the price is really too high, and I understand that. But we're not going to make a decision just off of price. Selling with automation. We have proposals sent. We have the on-hold stage. Why do customers need to be followed up with? Change in scope, busy, unanswered questions, budget, life event, yes or no. Here's a follow-up sequence for you guys. It's a 3-month follow-up sequence to every single person that we send a proposal to. Hey, Robin, any questions come up regarding the quote we sent over? Just checking in. Hey, sorry, super busy. I thought I responded to this, but never sent it. Actually, can you make an adjustment? This is 4 days after we sent the proposal. Hey, automated discounts, right? Hey, Matthew, I thought I'd reach out and let you know that we have one more opening. If I give you $250 off the proposal, would you allow us to earn your business? What dates are those openings? I will call you Monday. Need to ask a question. What about stucco repair? There's not one message in here besides the one that said I talked to Tanner. That was my admin. That was sent manually, okay? Automating the job journey. These are all the things that you're responsible for as a business owner, okay? One more minute, guys. A thank you message, set expectations, reminders, updates, project management, review link, touch up, punch out, aftercare, warranty info. These are all the things you're responsible for. How can you do this? You can't. You're not doing it. The only way you can do it is automation. Someone for way too much to do these things, and they don't even do it efficiently because it's too much. Okay? Key point, the quality of your production communication should be synonymous with the quality of your sales communication. Don't come into someone's house and give them a superior experience, and then when it's time to do the production, they question whether or not it's the same company, okay? Because the communication was so aggressive and so positive, and then when it came to production, they're following up with you. Hey, when is my job scheduled? When are you guys going to be here? We don't want that, okay? Last point, the job journey. We have all the job stages here. You can set expectations with the job communication. Do people really care about this? These are all the people that click links after we sell them a job of different things we send them, expectations, guides, PDFs, things that help them understand how the painting process works. Do you provide a journey or a challenge? You can see here that we can actually send a color selection. We can give them a great production experience through automation. Steve with Gutter Pros, guess what? We just ordered the materials. Do your customers ever know when you order materials? Okay, but when you order Domino's, you know when the pizza's in the oven, right? Why wouldn't somebody appreciate that? Guess what? This is what your customers are interacting with every day. Amazon's letting you know when your package has been touched, Domino's and Instacart, they're letting you know things throughout the process. That's a great experience. And some of you guys don't say a word to the customer until the day before your team's going to be there. Do you guys think that's a pleasant surprise? No. It's inefficient, okay? Great news. Your project with premium painting has been scheduled. Do you guys tell your customer when it's scheduled? Your project starts tomorrow. Look at that. We can send a picture to them, letting them know the project starts tomorrow. Project management, right? We can automate project management. Hey, Francis, just checking in. How's everything going so far? Are you happy with the progress? Check this out. Aftercare. We're almost there. Automating reviews. Key takeaway, guys. My last slide for you today. John's like, come on. Just kidding. Key takeaway, guys. This is why I'm here. I want you to strive to create a remarkable experience, and you will always win the game of business. You will always win. Thank you, guys. Let's go.